Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Oceanary. Oh my God, I don't know where I'm going with this today. Beyond the Ordinary Show. Wonder what's coming in that oceanic consciousness. Who knows? Hey, y'all. Today we have a call that I'm really excited about. It's with Jessie Herman, who is a channel for a non-physical group entity called Vagrian, and she communicates with them directly. And she's been in process with them for over a decade. And what she's bringing through and how it's kind of caught wildfire so quickly in the communities that she's reaching is just a testament to the quality of information that she's transmitting, and also the times that we're in this great just transcendence period of the facilitation and really the benevolence that's here for us, guiding us to these places that we're expanding into. Um, Today we're going to be talking about the coming changes to humanity and our role as light bringers. So it's going to be a fantastic call. Jesse's brought a special offer for BTO. We'll probably get into some Q&A with y'all in the audience. So if you want to ask your personal questions, type your question in the chat box or raise your hand. And we'll bring in the group as well, Vagrian, to bring in some wisdom and love for y'all to experience. Um, so I hope that you all sit back, enjoy today's call, and really open your heart to dive in deeper with Jessie and the work that she brings for all of us. And it's with that introduction, Jessie, that thank you so much for joining us on BTO.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Mm. I would love it if you shared a little bit first of how this communication got sparked within you, and also how all of a sudden when it was just time, it just grew so quickly for some reason. And
Yeah,
again, the synchronicities I know are not a mistake, but the story is really fascinating.
sure. I was just a regular, everyday human being, as we all are. And I started my spiritual journey, as many do, based upon a bit of catalyst in my personal life. And so I started meditating, I started diving deeper into things. And what started to happen around that period was some of the strangenesses of my childhood started to pop up. So as a kid, I was what my parents called very creative and very imaginative. And my experience was that I would see things, I would hear things, I would know things just that everyone else said weren't there. So I
Mm,
was encouraged to not share that as much as was coming through, and eventually just kind of put it in a box as, okay, this is not appropriate to talk about. I shouldn't be telling people this. People are going to think I'm weird. So I just forget all about all that stuff. Forget about the
mm,
ghosts or the aliens or all the stuff that was coming through for me. So my own spiritual journey re-began around, I guess, 35, 36 years old. And with the meditation, these things started coming back online. But I did not want to be weird. I still held on to that notion that I wasn't allowed to talk about the things. So I was very interested in spirituality, and yet I did not want to be a part of it. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to share my messages. I didn't want to share what was coming through for me. Until on my 40th birthday, it got very annoying is the only way to
mm.
put it. I got very, very irritated with this sort of calling inside me, or this knowing that there was something that needed to be shared. And I had discovered channeling probably a couple of years earlier with Abraham Hicks and that sort of area of channeled messages. And I kept getting the sensation that, like, you're a channel, you're a channel. So I said, you know what, forget it. It's my birthday. It's my 40th birthday. I'm going to prove to whatever this is once and for all that I'm not a channel. It's got the wrong person. It can go off and bother somebody else. I'm not getting involved in any of this. And so I put a recorder on my phone and I lay down, and I don't know what I did. I still don't know what I do. But I allowed. That can be the only real word to use. And 20 minutes later, the alarm went off on my phone. I had somewhere I needed to be. I thought, okay, I'm going to just have a nap. Worst case scenario is going to get a nice nap. And there was speaking on this recording that I had no recollection of. It
Wow.
didn't sound exactly like me. It sounded, I mean, it was my voice, but it sounded odd. And it was saying things that were odd and that I didn't sort of recognize as coming from my awareness. And so I said, oh, well, I guess I finally gone crazy. I said, okay, I know channeling is a thing for other people, but this is just clearly me having gone a little bit crazy. But in those very first messages, the energy had said, like, there will be people that will come onto your path that will encourage you to experiment, and then you'll understand what this is. And in fact, that's what happened a few short weeks later when I met a bunch of people who were really into channeling just by coincidence. And they were super encouraging. They were like, we have to do it all together. We have to do it all together. And so I did. And that's when very important, I'd say, messages for the people that were participating started to come through. And so when I woke up from those sessions, I realized, actually, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not crazy. And this is just a gift that if I decide to keep for myself would be like hoarding it. So that was sort of when I made the decision that, you know, whatever the world thought about me or whatever I even thought about myself, it was too valuable to not share. So that's when the
Mhm.
sharing began in my experience. And the messages, and first off, the fluidity and the ability to channel that I've had since the beginning, it's changed a little bit over time, but it was immediately full trance channeling with very high level frequency messages that were clean. The pace of the messages were very quick. The
Mm.
vocabulary was very rich, and in fact, they had me read the thesaurus to make sure I knew more words. But it was just, you know, as if you've always been meant to do that thing.
Mm.
So I couldn't really deny that it was something because I wasn't trying and it was just happening. So since then, I've had my YouTube channel. I've been doing one-on-one sessions. I've been doing group sessions, all kinds of things just to get the message out to as many people as possible because really it's such beautiful messages. They're so aligning and they're so refreshing in terms of they can refresh your spirit when you hear them. So that's the
Mm.
origin story of Vagrian and myself.
And it spread again. It's you start putting yourself on YouTube with no followers whatsoever, and then all of a sudden there's just this flood
Yeah,
of
you know what? That has to
yeah.
do with people like you who choose to share these messages with others, right? Because you can be the best channel in the world, you can be the best spiritual practitioner in the world, you can be the best anything in the world, and if no one's going to get you in front of an audience, then it's not going to happen. So in my case, it was actually a podcast that really caught the wildfire type of situation that I was on an interview. I'd forgotten completely I'd even done this interview. I was actually going through a very difficult period in my life,
Mm.
and I'd done the interview about 6 months earlier. And by the time, you know what production's like, it takes a little while, and some people have like a lot of lineup of things. This interview came out, and from one day to the next, I was like, what is happening here? What's going on? Like, it's just such a jump from, and I had been publishing things on YouTube probably for about 3 years with like one view, two views,
Mm.
that kind of thing. And no resentment, no stress about it, but an awareness that, okay, this isn't really getting out to very many people. I'd published a book by that point as well. So there were things that I was being called to do, but not so much the how do I get people, to see this. And through collaboration, I think is a really, this community, the entire Lightbringer, we're going to be talking about Lightbringer's community, is so beautiful when we're supporting each other. And it really makes a difference to so many people.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. And again, collaboration. I've seen that. That's where we're shifting into in so many ways. But I'd love it if you would share also what the messages are about the upcoming energetic, personal, and collective shifts and how those are really here the changes for humanity.
Yeah, so Vagrian's been talking for a while, and even when they first began transmitting, that we're in preparation. We're in preparation for changes. And the changes we're in preparation for are changes that as a collective we want to see. So all of the sort of ideas that a lot of us have in our heart, like can we have peace on earth? Can we have unity consciousness? Can we have everyone really following their bliss and joy and being supported by that network? So those are big changes from humanity's separation consciousness. Excuse me. And these changes also come with a requirement. They come with the requirement of each individual choosing to step into that on a personal level and choosing to live from that space. So what we're seeing before those changes are completely cemented is the period of what are you going to choose? And to propose to a collective, what will you choose? You have to have a lot of contrast, a lot of diversity of options, a lot of things that perhaps aren't aligned with unity consciousness or are very much into separation consciousness. So each individual with their free will can go, do I want to go into fear or do I want to go into love?
Hmm.
So we're in this phase now of learning to navigate the catalyst that will provoke those choices to be made and to stay in the choice of love, no matter what's going on. So unconditional love would be having faith in, the all that is, while having crisis all around you, or while being proposed ideas that perhaps there's danger, or perhaps there's, something that's unjust. And that is really what we're seeing. And we're seeing that ramp up. There's not a single person on this call or in this collective who doesn't know that the past 5 years have been quite different than the 20 or 30 years before them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's because we're being offered more and more frequently and faster the opportunities. See, I'm choosing my words carefully.
You
The
don't have to be careful.
opportunities
You don't have to be
to
careful here. Yes,
no,
it's
like there's a mess going on, and
there is.
we're being asked to stay in our light during the mess, stay in our light in the face of darkness. And that is really an opportunity. So this collective, we're all here specifically for this moment. It's been prophesized over and over again that we're coming to a big change and a big shift in humanity, and we're the ones really running the show. So that's really
That's
what Vagrian's been talking about a lot.
I'm curious if you have an awareness of how we make the switch from being so passive and so used to being led to making sovereign choice to really reflect our role as the light bringers and to bring about the vibrational shift that we're holding in our hearts.
Yeah, I think it's an idea shift that starts inside of yourself.
Mm,
And I think it does rely a little bit on the understanding of the metaphysical concepts that this is all an illusion and we're projecting it, right?
mm,
So if you're really convinced that you're an individual human being in a reality that has systems and structures, and that these system structures are real and they require certain things to happen for them to undo, then you're going to have that play out in your reality. That's
mm,
really what's going to happen. If, however, you can get a little bit abstract, which, part of all this meditation, the spiritual teaching, is to kind of get you to that abstract space where you know that your biggest strength is in your
mm.
non-physical energies, your metaphysical abilities, and the essence that is you, that's beyond the human being. From that perspective, there's a lot more power to make change, if even at that point change is necessary. Because if you come to a deep realization that you're the one projecting, and projecting is a funny word, I don't really like projecting, but you're the one who's the projector, like a film projector of reality, then when you get masterful at really staying in that faith, change happens a lot faster. And like the weirdest stuff can happen. Like things that you don't expect at all can just unfurl and unfold. Things that would never be on any statistical probability appear. And, a government decides to, oh, now what, we're just all going to be completely different. And then that can actually occur. But it counts if you're holding on to the old paradigm of you are, you know, controlled or not sovereign. You have to actually step into your sovereignty first on the non-physical level.
How would you recommend that people keep choosing that sovereignty, that step into it, that practice into it? Because even in our communities, there's first of all, there's a vibrational tone that we offer even in holding the space in the conversations and what's being shared, which is so beautiful and really helps to stabilize the field. But I also witness where there's a lot of judgment where people within themselves, well, I don't know if I can do that or meditate that way or connect in that way. Only the channel or the psychic or someone that's been doing this
Mhm.
work for 20 years. And I don't know why I can't hear anything. And I don't know. There's a lot of that not enoughness. I can't do it. Someone else's special type of energy. And even in
Yeah.
our communities, how can we bring a wave to help to shift those limiting beliefs and really bring in more of the esoteric and the wisdom of that to help us navigate this road that we're on?
I think it's a multifaceted answer. So the first is that really, and we hear it all the time. Self-love really is the answer.
Mm,
Radical self-acceptance is the answer. You have to look at the human and go, your limitations or whatever you perceive of as limitations is perfect for everything that you're in the soul journey to do in this now moment. Because a lot of people, are not necessarily loving their lives.
mm,
It really is one of those keys to have access to your metaphysical abilities. And I can't say that I started out this channeling journey and was like everything was peachy keen. There was a lot of transition as I've been, side by side with getting more into being able to channel. But you have to like allow yourself to simultaneously be fully human and the human that you specifically got assigned by the divine or by the all
mm,
that is to find out what are the gifts, what are the nuances, what is the beauty of this unique, never before, never again manifest creature, really. And from that space, as you really get into that space of choosing that you're going to be madly in love with this character,
mm,
then you naturally treat that character better. You give them more of what they want. You satisfy their desires more often. And then you're automatically on the path that's in alignment with your higher self because your higher self is crazy in love with you. It is like here every single day, right? You wouldn't be alive if it didn't show up every day just to hang out with you, just to see what you're gonna do, like just to see, cool, what happens now? And then some sort of challenge gets thrown at you, your higher self's going like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. And they're so excited, right? If you can get your own sense of like your own like personality and your persona to feel that way about yourself, first of all, your
mm,
life feels awesome. But then so many things unlock for you. You end up healing things that maybe you've gone up like hundreds of years to try and get through, or you end up meeting people who are your guides on your journey. And it really becomes that your actual human life, because we are here for now as humans, is that metaphysical journey. It doesn't really
mm.
matter if you have like sort of esoteric gifts. I promise you, I'm as human as anybody else, and I have all kinds of problems in my life, and stuff happens and I look for trouble. I have to be honest. Like I really enjoy causing a little bit of trouble and chaos in my life just to see if I can fix it, right? So we're dramatic creatures. We have fun. But the thing that I've noticed is the more I can step into the witnessing role and the more I can just love even the things I don't like about myself, the more I get offered higher value offerings in terms of my experiences and higher value um, to be honest, possibilities to be in service. Like that's really what it is. And that's what feels good to me. But for someone else, it could be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I really want to go back to something that you mentioned, and it's so relevant and worth repeating and paraphrasing. But it's about falling in love with yourself first, and then the healing happens. Not the healing happens, and then you get to fall in love with yourself. Because again, in our communities, it's heal this, go back and do that, the past lifetime, the into the Akashic, the mom and the dad, the wounding that happened. And then maybe that self-love can come in. Maybe you can attune to it. Maybe
Hmm.
it'll become present. And you spoke to an alchemy in opposite order. And I think that is so important to mention.
Yeah. It really is because I've been observing this, right? So I've had the experience of started channeling and then I had some big challenges in my life. And what I noticed was that as I took that step back and I now identify more with the witnesser than the person, the more I could be really compassionate to myself and like just accept like the weird thing that I do or whatever it is, or the way I cause chaos or whatever it might be. Um, then what happened is I'd be offered new possibilities to heal, but in my day-to-day experience, certain things. So I'd have a person come into my life that triggered something. But from that witnessing place, I could go, oh, look, look what she's doing. She's using that pattern that she uses. Wait a minute. From back here, I can tweak and experiment and gently guide, right? So like my perception of Jessie was a little bit further back, sitting there and going, I want her to have the best possible experience here. I know that it doesn't serve her to, let's say, cut that person out of their life because they're afraid of connection, right? That's an
Mm,
old pattern, right? So maybe from here, from being that witness or the higher self, like it's almost like you push your way of seeing the world into the higher self itself, the love that you can go through. And even if Jessie doesn't take the bait and does, do repeating an old pattern, you go, cool, that's okay. That pattern might still be serving. That pattern might still be just protecting her heart or whatever. And just that level of love for self, first of all, was like a bit of a surprise to me that that naturally appears when you take a bit of a broader perspective, but also the things would resolve themselves. Suddenly patterns weren't there anymore. Suddenly things that bothered me simply didn't.
Yeah.
And it didn't need to be dug through or figured out. Suddenly, for example, relationships that were very challenging, that were toxic or whatever, I didn't feel the need to resolve them. I went, okay, that person doesn't call me or they want me to chase them or whatever. Okay, we'll just see what happens. We'll wait and see. And a
Mm.
lot of this patient waiting and seeing healed a lot of things without an actual doership of it. So I
Mhm.
really think that we're never going to be perfect according to like what our ego says we should be.
Yeah.
So there's no way to heal all the stuff. But if you start to see all the things that are you, not as problems and not as something's gone wrong, but something that's like a beautiful detail of this ensemble, right? Then
Mm.
it really, you get a very curious about the human that you are, and you see it more like a painting than you do as something you're so associated with and like ashamed of being. It's really
Right.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this really leads in, well, I don't think I know it leads into really the pillar that becomes available as the role as light bringers that we're becoming, because something that got engendered through that witnessing experience is your level of compassion can't help but to mature in ways that didn't exist before.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens then is as you love yourself, you start to sort of just, first of all, you learn boundaries, which is amazing. That's also
Mm.
like, we're not saying we're going to be all mushy with our boundaries because discernment and boundaries are definitely great for human existence and
Yeah.
something that we are as a collective exploring in. But what you also learn is that someone else's problems aren't your problem either. And someone else's road is not your road. And you're no longer threatened that someone is not the same as you because you see their beauty as well. And so you're like, oh, I get to witness me and I get to witness that person and I get to witness also how they're not compatible. And
Mm.
look at that. It's nobody's fault. It's just how creation created these two characters who now no longer have to have that relationship or are not suited to each other or whatever it might be. But it's really, yeah, you have huge levels of compassion and you are then able to walk and with that sort of in your step in your gait. Yeah.
I'm so curious because as we're having this conversation, and my experience with this awareness over the years is becoming much more attuned, um, and aware how it's demonstrating in others. I can ask you to channel Vagrian, and we will, because I want our audience to get to know that aspect of your offering
Yeah.
as well as it resonates. And with all due respect to this non-physical group that's here to assist us, I don't feel like I really need to, because it really feels like you're embodying the wisdom and the teachings, and it's coming through Jessie.
Mm.
And so the translation, and I'm sure the vibrational tone that we'll feel as a third comes in with us, um, is uplifting and healing and brings light in its own special way. Or are
Yeah.
you finding that the veil between you and they is becoming that much more thin, that you're carrying that experience forward, and the translation of that love just seems to flow through you without needing to go in the way that you become used to?
So, it was surprising because at the beginning I didn't think this was the case because I never really went back and watched the content. I didn't have time, only when I'm editing and stuff like that. So it's a lot of content that not remembering it also when I go back, I'm like, oh wow, that's really clever what they said and stuff like that. But I have noticed that it's been sort of a passive transformation that's been occurring, I think, through having that vibrational frequency come through or allowing it, right? Because it's
Sure.
available for all of us. has really shifted a lot of things. And in the ways that it's shifted have been of benefit in measure, in step with my personal life, right? So,
Mm.
like I keep saying, I say to everybody, I really like causing trouble. I really like being human. I really like, obsessing over something or binge watching a show or whatever it is. And like, or finding things that I do that I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, whatever it is, we all have the same stuff. But I have noticed also that my way of seeing the world is very much shifting and merging to the way that they see it. I don't know if that's sustainable. Not that it's not possible. It's you don't even want to be in that energy all the time because you did come here to have a human life. You didn't come here to be completely detached and be like, oh, everything's perfection all the time. It is, yes, it is at that level, but we get to play all the games at this level and have a great time and
Mm.
be in joy and even in tragedy, be in beauty, and there's so many nuances and beautiful things that they, as a non-physical entity group, don't get to experience. They don't get to experience sensation. They don't get to experience tiredness, like even just these things. So I think that what's happening for me is my life is becoming richer and richer, and it's
Mm.
becoming very much more lived. And that is just like gorgeous. I mean, this it's just a gift that continues to give. And that's what I hear from the people who are in contact with Vagrian, that they do adopt these frequencies sort of in a passive way. For as much as the information is great,
Mhm.
there's also that transmission that allows them to remember who they are.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Spanish saying, my mom used to say it to me all the time. Um, Tell me who you spent your time with, and I'll tell you exactly who you are.
Right. Yeah, that's
Right?
right.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
it's she was right with that one. I'll give mom that one, bless her. Um, it's I'd love to ask you and Vagrian a question. I'm not sure quite how that goes in, and maybe we can dive into some Q&A before we get into the special offer. So if you all
Okay.
want to ask personal questions, raise your hand, type your questions into the chat box. And is there anything that is there a specific way that you prefer questions to come in, or it's
Well, if it's during channeling, you'd have to read them out because I'm
okay,
not able to read them.
right,
But no, there's no specific way. Whatever feels good to people.
right.
And yeah,
Wonderful. So again, we'll get into Q&A here in a second. I
okay.
want to ask what your perception of this is and get into Vagrian as well. Again, we're in this period of, okay, what are we choosing? Where
Hmm.
are we putting our attention to, our perception, and having that multiply with the energy that we put into it? Where is the line between going in our direction, but then if there's something that's discordant with that, holding a particular standard, but still building in a direction. But what do we do with the standard? What's our role with the standard that isn't in alignment with that
Hmm.
frequency that we want to be living in and want to be creating in?
Yeah. So what I've been observing about the collective is that we've got a lot of information. I mean, this is the first sort of period where there's all this information available to us. Now, in the past, life was organized that whatever was relevant to you would pop up in your field, right? If there was a sewer that needed to be fixed in your local community, you'd see a flyer on a billboard, and then that would be what was being presented to you from existence as the thing that you have to choose in how you want to be. Right now, we're in a shifting period, right? So, what I understand is several years ago, probably about five, if not more, years ago, we as a collective made a decision that our experiences were no longer going to be um, sort of unified in the this is reality. We decided that we were gonna, because everyone wanted to have their own reality, to branch out and like really everyone's reality is an entire world and we get to witness each other's. Okay. So what ended up happening is the internet gets created and we have access to all this information and to the global economy and this expansion of the interconnectedness and yet every perspective being valid kind of
Mm.
threw us off.
Right.
So, what I would say is to your question, when there's something on your path that bothers you or that lights up, make sure it's actually on your path. Make sure it
Mhm.
actually is something that you do have ability and sovereignty to interact with. Make sure that it's something that you can choose to be creative with and like make not even make a difference. You can really create anything you want because if a desire is big enough, you can change the entire world, right? But discernment is really important. Which battles are you going to fight? And what are you going to devote your precious energy and time to? Your emotional energy, your actual time. And if that thing is on your path, you can hold a high vibration and still be love and still have a preference that you don't like this thing. And then in doing both, you get creative inspiration of like what you can actually do. Like maybe you can go to the town hall and talk to them about fixing the sewers, right? But there's a lot of things right now that are literally presented to us with the question of, are you going to be love or are you going to be fear? Are you going to
Mm,
be love or are you going to cave into distraction? And you have to be able to see what is trying to get you in terms of
right.
distraction. Yeah.
What are some markers that we could pay attention to
Mm.
that would be obvious that we're like, oh wait, that's trying to distract me, that's pulling me away from where I really want to be. And it could seem really simple and automatic, but sometimes it isn't so obvious for people.
Yeah. The biggest one is fear. I think that is
Yeah,
the biggest marker for distraction. If something is presenting itself as fearful to you, and yet, first of all, sit with that and see like, well, is there actually a threat within the next 24 hours? Right? Like
nice.
if there's a fire on the hill, like go, like that's not a distraction. That's something that's actively coming towards you. Let's say that it's prudent to protect your physical self. But if there's not sort of an actual answer to the question, will this impact me in the next 24 hours? Then today is not the day to necessarily deal with it from a space of fear or action. That
Hmm,
doesn't mean don't vote for who you want to vote for. That doesn't mean don't say the thing you want to say. It just means that the fear, if there's a high level of fear but no actual danger, then you're actually in a choice point. So that's the
right.
biggest one. And then sort of disempowerment, depression, things like that. It's probably that your focus has gotten a little bit off and you
Hmm.
can see if you can refocus on some other things that would bring you more joy.
Or anything that's causing separation with other people as
Yeah,
well. If we're creating separation or we're judging a group because this group is better, it's like, oh, hold on a second, why?
yeah,
And do we
no,
even ask
absolutely.
why, or do we just notice? Do we even have to get to the root of it, or can we just be neutral
Look, you
without
can say
having to decide? Yeah,
thank you, no thank you.
yeah,
Something bothers you a little bit, you go, you know what? I'm not gonna, I'll worry about this in 3 days' time. Probably it'll be gone by then. Like a lot of this stuff, especially what's offered to us in the media, what's offered to us in the day to day. Your friend is very upset about something that happened at the supermarket. Is she really going to be upset about this in 3 days' time? Probably not. Like it's
yeah.
not really a thing. So you can say thank you, no thank you. I'll get back to you on that to your own, to the TV, like, oh, I heard there's this horrible thing that's coming, a meteorite. It might hit us in 10 years. Okay, I will worry about that 3 days from today if I need to.
Thank you, no,
So,
thank you. What can
yeah,
I be doing instead? Let's see, eating ice cream, jumping in
exactly.
the ocean, making love, laughing
Yeah.
with my grandkids.
Absolutely. There's so much to
It's
get
like,
on with.
wait, what am I choosing and why?
Yeah, that's
Y'all,
exactly it.
Deborah, you're laughing, and a lot of us are laughing here, but it's the truth is so simple. The simplicity of that is just, can y'all feel just how relieving it is just to talk about this in such lightness? But again, it's such deep, resonant truth.
Mm.
And how wonderful that we can escape the prisms that we claim that others are trying to put us into. We've got the key. We've got the key. And how wonderful. And we just have to remind each other from time to time with that compassion and understanding and experience, because we're all experiencing the flip side of what we think is pulling us under in different ways. And if we just share those wins, that love, that high vibrational possibility for others, wow, how amazing it is who we get to surround ourselves with. We
Yeah.
create the field.
And something else I discovered was that you don't need to have fear to protect yourself, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is a huge, huge thing we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is not required for you to make good choices about what's coming in your experience. It's not required for you to find a way to solve problems. And if you look at the world, it's very easy to trace anything that's not of our preference, that's not of anyone's preference, right? So wars or just whatever it is, you can always trace that back to fearful people.
Yeah.
So if that is really the disease of separation, it's the fear makes you think that you have to stand alone, and that causes so much trouble. So if you start to look at, that as like, well, every time I'm choosing something that's not fear, I'm making the world a better place, and I'm
Mm.
still able to protect myself, then you're really in a space of learning how to navigate. Like it's almost like a little loophole. You go, okay, is there fear here? No. All right, cool.
Well, and that's also, I'll call it even taking the oath of a Lightbringer. Not that we
Yeah.
take an oath of it, but really, what are we choosing to be devoted to? The liberation that comes in through the lightness of our awareness of our connection to benevolence?
Yeah.
Or are we devoted to fear? And really, I think we're being, well, I don't think I know. It's again, we're at those choice points.
Yeah.
Are we choosing this or are we choosing that? Are we devoted to this or are we devoted to that?
Hmm.
And we get
Yeah,
to choose.
we do.
And it really is a devotional practice. It's a practice over and over. It's like, wait, what's true in my heart? Where am I choosing to go? Not just for myself. Yes, self-love, but the ripple effects of my decision are going to be felt wherever I direct them.
Yeah. Here's another secret that, has come through is that you don't really ever choose love. Love already is. You
I
can
love that.
only choose fear. Like that's the only place you can go, like,
Chills.
I'm actually gonna diverge from the path over here. I'm gonna choose fear instead of what's naturally there. So it's actually not really that hard to listen to yourself because you can just assume, okay, myself is love. Anything that's not that is my programming, my conditioning, my backgrounds, my fear, whatever it is, right? So it gets really easy to follow your inner guidance
Wow,
because you only
wow.
have one thing to follow.
No, we're not choosing love, we're choosing not love
That's
because
right.
love goes there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all, again, so simple. Practice, 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 and more practice. Let's get into a little bit of Q&A. We'll get into the special offer and
Sure.
maybe towards the end of the show, we can have Vagrian come in and
Hmm.
give us a beautiful transmission or message.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Let's
sounds
do that
great.
because I'm so enjoying you in this conversation. This is so cool. And again, I'm excited to hear from them, but aren't y'all enjoying Jesse? And this is cool. Um, yeah, yeah. All right, let's go to live callers first. Deborah, let's start with you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you both. Oh my God,
Mm,
what a refreshing call. I always enjoy your shows, John, but Jesse, just your freshness, your love. Love is always there. You don't even have to choose love because
mm.
it's always there. I just like you're just giving these poignant one-liners the whole entire time. I finally did write a few little things, but I'm just mesmerized by the discussion that you two are just showering us with it. Jesse, you're just such a breath of fresh air. I've never heard of you before. Sadly for me, I'm happy to be here tonight.
What's
Um,
your question, Deborah?
you know what?
What's your question?
Um, I wasn't even sure I had a question because I was just so enamored, and I wanted to say, "Wow!" But
Mm,
yeah, I'm open to anything. I love even your perspective with friendships. Um,
Mm.
just give it space. It was permission. Well, I didn't need permission. I'd already been doing that, but it was just nice to hear somebody say that. So I'm kind of actually, if you don't mind, just open if you've got something that's dropping in you.
Well, I mean, you mentioned friendships, so I would say that, you're allowed to have your discernment.
Yeah.
Some things fall away and you still love them, right? I think that people think that when relationships end, that the love ends. It never does. No. So in any situation in which you're not any longer able to bring something to a relationship in benefit or to receive something in benefit, then that soul contract's not over. It's modifying into a space where you don't necessarily need to interact. And I find friendships specifically have all these rules and regulations, don't they?
You do.
And we're kind of getting ready to be in a space of honoring each other more so than adhering to rules and regulations. So I hope that helps for whatever you're going through.
It does. I was going to also ask about distraction's a big thing for me. Like, do this, so many things to be of interest. I maybe have my own answer, but I'm
probably
just your
Beautiful, Deborah.
continually saying, just be in the presence, just go quiet.
Yeah.
Deborah, thank you so much. And
Thank
Deborah, I want to ask you, and this is for so many of us that are really good about seeing others in their light. And you were gushing about Jessie. I'll just call it gushing.
I was. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, and
show.
my invitation to you, just as a reflection, is when's the last time you stood in front of the mirror and gushed?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, well, it's the divine mirrors, and what an invitation into a practice of self-love and
Yes.
seeing yourself in that light and amplifying that, not just for you, but it's for everybody else to see more of that beautiful light. So I wanted to leave you with that. Thank you for coming on.
John, you always get the icing. Thank you.
I love the icing. Yes, I love being that. All right, let's continue. Laura, welcome to the call.
Thanks so much, John. Thank you for being here, Jessie. John, that's funny you ask about gushing in front of the mirror. I've never done that, but I have started doing what you suggested a few nights ago with the, Laura, you can be more than enough. You are more than enough. And just loving myself in the mirror. And it's really helpful. So thank you. Appreciate that. Jessie, I haven't heard of you either, and I also love your energy. So I guess I'm going to gush a little bit too. This has just been, I've been listening more than writing, which is unusual. Normally I'm constantly taking notes, but it's like hanging out with a friend, you know? So thank you for that. And I'm excited to meet you here tonight. I guess my question is about channeling. You said you just one day were like, all right, fine, I'm open and turn on your recorder. Is that something that all of us can do, or do you have to be called?
So I really think, and Vagrian shares, that is something all of us can do. They also remind us that our physical vessels and brains, so they come through my physical vessel and brain, they call me the vessel when they're doing that, are already doing that. You're channeling your own personality every moment of your waking day. And when you go to sleep, you let go of that channel and you rest and you relax, and then you call it back in when you wake up in the morning. So we're already primed on a physical level to be able to do that. What someone who's a channel might do is they've simply figured out how to literally change the radio station temporarily, you know, with consent. And then they're also in our collective, there are also people who unfortunately maybe change the radio station accidentally. And then those would be sort of on the spectrum of like mental health issues that we already know about do exist in our collective. So we're all capable of channeling. And if you have a desire to channel, guess what? That's your call. So you need to have a calling. Desire is divine. We don't kind of get up in the morning and go, you know what am I going to want today? Okay, I'm going to want this. And that's not how it works. You just kind of know what you want inside of you. So that's the equivalent of a calling. So you can be pretty confident that if you're excited about channeling, or if you're interested in it or curious about it, that you're already primed for that to be an occurrence in your life.
Wow. All right. So do the same thing, basically. Just lay down, hit record, and say, I'm available.
Yeah. Well, are you an artist?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're already channeling every time you're doing that.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Choose love. You don't have to choose love. Be love. Be love. Let the being just come through you. Yeah. Beautiful, Laura. Thanks for coming on. It's great to see you. Hey, we're going to take more Q&A in a little bit. I want to get into the special offer first, because there's an opportunity for 3 months or a couple of months worth of going on with Jessie in a membership. There's a live Q&A with Vagrian, which you're going to experience that consciousness in a little bit as well. And there's more. So I want to make sure that y'all have an opportunity to go deeper with Jessie, because, oh my God, again, that's just we're all gushing about Jessie today. And so that just speaks volumes about the opportunities that exist with the vibrational quality of love that she's emanating, that we can relate to and we're expanding into and saying yes to more and more in our receptivity, because again, it's always there. We're just becoming more receptive to it. Um, so y'all, the link for the special offer, it's on the live page. You'll see the special offer button on the page. If you're listening to the replay, just look underneath the video. You see the replay special offer link there as well. And if you're watching on any other platform, you can always find our special offers on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And there you'll see Jessie's picture. Click on the special offer button, and then it'll take you to the opportunity to work with Jessie in this way. And Jessie, if you would you guide everybody as to what they're going to receive from this package that you created especially for BTO?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that people get is going to be an ebook, which is a lovely ebook of an amazing transmission that really started out the year this year. It's called The Portal to the New You, and it really outlines how to walk through the own portal of yourself into that higher version of yourself that you've always wanted to be, being more in that non-physical aspect, being more connected with your higher self, and also the reasons why we don't necessarily do it. So without any judgment and saying like you have to be more spiritual or you have to be this or you have to be that, a balance, a really lovely balance between an understanding of why did you come to be human in the first place? What does your experience of being non-physical really entail, and stepping into this ability to be a light bringer for others, to be in service to others. So that is a really beautiful ebook that I put together for you guys. Next up is 3 months of the Vagrian membership site, Amethyst tier. And on there, oh my God, there's hundreds and hundreds of transcripts. So
Oh
if
my
you
God.
are interested in channeling, that's where they're all living at the moment. And I do have in that membership site some live meetings with me, something similar to this, a couple times a month. Discounts on all of my services, which is great, and also access to some other special offers that only members get access to, including my older, really long intensive events. So like online retreats and things like that, really fun stuff. And that's a really fun membership. I love the group, and we have such a good time in there. And so you get 3 months of that with this offer, which is really great. Then the last thing is we're going to have a special shindig, just us, in May, and
Be
that's going to
shindigging.
be quite exclusive to you guys. So we're going to have a live session, Q&A. You're going to hang out with Vagrian. We're going to really get to know each other, and that's going to be absolutely beautiful. So that's pretty much the offering.
That's an amazing offer, y'all. All this is $97. There's a two payment options, a 30-day money back guarantee on everything on BTO. It's just such a no-brainer. And what a beautiful opportunity to go in deeper into, again, being vibrational accord. If this is feeling right and lifting to you and expansive to you, then again, I'll tell you who you are by who you surround yourself with, right? Again, it's that saying, it's like it's such a beautiful reminder of what's possible for us. And again, what a beautiful opportunity to bring Jessie on and to be able to offer this to our community as something else that's helping us to remember, something else that is reminding us of where we're choosing. And that supports. And sometimes we need that validation or that comfort in the ways that just our humanness can use the support. And to be in line in community in this way and support it is beautiful. So I hope you all take advantage of the special offer. Again, the link's right there on the live page where you're watching, on the replay page, just right underneath the video. And again, in the marketplace, always on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. So again, thank you for bringing this together, Jessie, and I'm excited for everybody that's going to get to participate.
Yeah.
I'd love to continue with some live Q&A, and then we'll get into a little bit of a channeling in a little bit.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Yeah.
But Christy, I'm guided to call on you now. Welcome to the call.
Hi, thank you very much for calling on me. Thank you, JC, for being there, and thank you for your work and for the light and for the love you bring to the world. I know, JC, and thank you, John, for your ordinary show. I love your show, and you're such a great connector with everyone, and even if someone doesn't know someone, you're like doing such a great job. Thank you very much. Thank you. I have a question about JC. Like I'm in this like transition period, like 3 years already in my awakening, and I'm like I feel myself like I'm stuck. I have so many ideas and inspirations, and it's like one of my greatest desire was to be a channel, and I can like go in like in that trance channel like Tracy, but I'm receiving like a messages like information if someone asking me something, it just popping up in my head.
Mhm.
And the thing is like I'm not putting myself out. Yeah, it's just I don't know, it's like I'm doing everything but not that. It's like I have like this maybe a fear that I'm gonna fail, or maybe if I quit my regular job I'm not gonna sustain the income that I
Mhm.
need because of my kids. So my question is what I should do is just, like, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jessie. So
Thank you
nice
for
to see
sharing
you.
that. You too, you too. So I like that this question kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of like what does one focus on when there's lots of things going on.
Yeah.
So what Vagrian's been talking about lately in terms of when someone comes with a similar question is that you're never not getting the most important thing to you in this now moment.
Mm,
So whenever you're not getting something that you're wanting, it's not because that thing's not coming eventually. It's because there's something else that currently you're wanting more than that. And that might be sorting out something in your life. That might be learning to follow your joy more. That might be taking care of your physical vessel in a different way. That might be often it's maybe because there's someone in your life that you're taking care of right now. So what they suggest to do is when there is something like this, that you have a deep desire for something, have patience with that. And in the meantime, focus all of your sovereign energy on where you do have little baby steps you can take to improving some of the other areas of your life, or following your joy more, or crafting better relationships with the people that you love, etc. And then you're primed for those things to come into you naturally. So try not to get frustrating. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to wait and for us to have patience. I know, I promise you, there are things in my life I want. And I got easy access to the channeling, and those things are like, why do they like, why is it always so elusive, right? But from what they've shared over and over again, you're always getting something that you want. So sometimes it's just a question of focusing on gratitude, really. It brings back that gratitude practice to you. So that might help. And I hopefully it at least makes you feel a little bit better, because that's really the main goal with anything.
mm,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I think what also happens, Jesse, again, that's part of the attunement into that light bringer energy. Again, is we are developing patience and compassion. And there's this component of, we'll call it faith for now, a knowing
Mm,
of where we're directing our perspective, our attention to, and that we're guiding towards that. And again, we're in that point where we're really being asked to choose.
mm-hmm.
And are we going to believe the truth of our fear, or really the untruth of our fear? Or are we going to believe in a faith, this magnetic pull that, wait, there's something that's bringing hope and vitality and life and excitement, and are we going to amplify those experiences? And so, again, from the Lightbringer perspective, Jesse, I really think this is also where we're showing each other the way home into a new dimensional creation, where there's, again, the unification, the co-creation, the building each other up in positive ways that perhaps we haven't experienced before. It's been a long time since we've experienced become possible. And we've known this, we've prayed for it, we have hoped for it, and we're walking that path.
Yeah.
And again, the steps that you're talking about, they're vital in our lives, but they're also the essence of the substance for the new groundwork that's being laid for what's possible in our humanity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, Christy, your question is such an act of self-love, but the love that it provides for all of us in demonstrating what we're all doing in our own ways is it's powerful and beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
blessings to you. Christy.
Yeah, I love you. Oh.
Much love to you. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, Jesse, I have a question that came in from Christine. Christine writes, I've heard some channelers say using the term healing, healer, healed is of a lower frequency and not to use this word, to remove it from our vocabulary. But this doesn't resonate for me, even though I understand what's being said.
Yeah.
Christine wants to know what your thoughts are about that.
Well, there's a chapter in Vagrian's book, Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, that talks all about how healing is an illusion. There's no such thing actually as healing, because there's actually no such thing as anything having ever gone wrong. So actual healing, if you want to use that word from a higher vibrational frequency, is more so the recognition, and this is, by the way, how things actually heal, okay? Is more so the recognition that there was perfection in whatever was manifest in the first place. In the recognition of the perfection of it, you then are able to integrate whatever it was trying to communicate with you. I don't like to use the word lessons because we're not being punished or like taught here, but whatever was trying to be communicated with you. And then the manifestation of the thing that was causing the contrast for you is no longer necessary in your field. So when you hear about people with spontaneous healing, it often comes right after the person has accepted their fate and gone, oh, I'm in your hands, universe, whatever will be. And then they'll have a spontaneous remission of some serious situation, or they'll happen to meet the brand new treatment that was only available in Mexico and there was a limited number of spots, or whatever it is. There's this way that the universe goes, okay, you've recognized that this is a part of the journey and part of your experience, and then you no longer need that particular catalyst because you're now in another space, you're a different frequency being. Now, that doesn't also mean that sometimes things don't heal, right? That's also a journey of perfection. And I know that as humans, we have a hard time with that. We say, like, gosh, if there's a problem, I want it fixed. But it's really interesting when, from these higher perspectives, what the word healing is really about. It's really about understanding that all is well.
Remembering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Great question, Christine. Thank you so much. Okay, Tanya, let's go to you. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for calling on me. Hello, Jessie.
Hi, Tanya.
I came in a little late on the session. I came in when you were talking about fear, and I thought that was really interesting because I am right now in a state of a great deal of fear. And I always have it because right now it's fear of my health. But I'm always fearful of my health because I'm a big hypochondriac. So it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm always in fear. Fear just, I feel like it runs my life. And especially now I have a possibility of something very serious. Don't know yet, have to have a biopsy. Anyway, but the fear is just overwhelming. And I wonder what Vagrein, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, would say, or what to do to deal with this. It's just overwhelming, and it happens so often.
So fear is often a belief in your head that if something were to occur, you would not be able to deal with it.
Yes.
Right. So, but the truth is that you're not in this alone in terms of your physical vessel. You as your personality are not the only one here. Your higher self is always with you, right? So, and I know I'm speaking from experience because I did have a serious medical condition and have to deal with it. And you know what? You're far more resilient than you think you are. You are far more capable. You've survived this long. You've had things happen in your life so far, whether it's relational or health or whatever it is. Excuse me, I have to cough. And every time something comes, you might not know how you're going to deal with it, but 2 days later, it's 2 days later. Okay. So a little bit of faith in that the universe is on your side, that no matter what happens, even if that worst case scenario appears, guess what? You're still there to deal with it. You can trust yourself. You might have emotion, and that's scary. You might have feelings that come up. You might have to make decisions that are big that you don't have all the information for, but you're going to be each moment with you. Okay. You're not going to lose yourself, even if the worst happens, right? And that can calm fear sometimes. Okay. And it can help you to go, hey, fear, I see what you're doing. You're trying to protect me. Fear is very loving, can be very loving. It's just trying to protect you. Give it something else to do, right? Give it something else to do. Say, you know what, fear, thank you. And if we have a problem, I'm going to call on you right away and I'm going to make you into strength, or I'm going to make you into courage, right? I'm going to convert you. I'm going to use this energy as opposed to letting it consume me, because it is painful and you're going through a lot of pain unnecessarily. None of that fear has ever prevented anything from occurring to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's an absolute terrible emotion. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to worry about being guilty, but that's like, forget about it. That's a fear takes over everything.
Yeah, yeah. Try to appreciate that it's just trying to protect you, but you know how to protect you. You know how to deal with things that come up. You're a big girl. You've been here for a while, right? And you have strength within you that you don't even know you have yet that will be tapped on if you ever should need it. And hopefully you never will, right? So enjoy your life in the meantime.
Yeah. And Tanya, I would recommend that you come back and you listen to this segment of the show 5 times. Let it sink in more and more what's being shared. Because again, we can be given the best advice, but again, sometimes we just go back to the old pattern. Sometimes just like, okay, thank you very much. And that felt good for about 10 seconds. And then the next thing
Exactly.
comes up. But if you start imprinting it enough that you actually start forming new neural pathways because you're having a relationship with it, then it becomes your experienced action taking mode.
Mhm.
And so it's wonderful to receive here and to receive the compassion and the understanding and to feel that temporary relief. I want to invite you to make it permanent. Have a relationship with this wisdom that's being shared with you right now. This time is being gifted to you, and it can be gifted to so many others.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was meant to be gifted to you. Now do something with it. Imprint it. Love yourself. Carry it forward. Remember love. Don't choose fear. Love's all that exists. And come back. All right. Blessings,
Thank you.
Tanya.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Uh, Jessie, there's the words come up twice, and I was a little careful of it at first, just
Mhm.
because, um, but I won't be now. What is the vibrational intelligence of faith? How does
Mm.
that work in this alchemy that we're navigating with?
Yeah, it's it's a choice. It's a choice.
Mhm.
And this actually came up, I was thinking this in this conversation. I was thinking, ease, calm. These are choices that you make. It's the choice not to respond to that alarm clock, It's the choice to go like, it's okay. It's okay. And I think faith is the choice to say it's okay even when you're a little bit scared, right? So faith and courage have similar vibrational frequencies, right? Courage tends to head towards like an action. Oh, I have to be courageous, right? I have to be afraid and do the thing anyway. Whereas faith, it seems to be, I get to be afraid and not do anything anyways, right? So um I, as much as possible, try to lean into faith because I found the benefit of it to be so great. It's just so great to have faith that something, anything, your higher self, God, all that is handling the details. You become the CEO of your life where you're like, okay, I've delegated that thing off. It's not my job. I don't have to think about it again. And that is the energy of faith. Just allowing yourself to handle what's your job, and the rest will fall into place and take care of itself. It's
Mm.
practiced and you can experiment. Vagrian is very big on telling us to experiment with things because we have a lot of fear. We don't like to get out of our patterns, right? But they're
Right.
always like, do it a little bit. Like, have faith for half a day. Faith that the parking spot will be there just today. Like, you don't have to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow you can stress about parking. Like, tomorrow you can stress about getting there on time for the
Uh,
meeting. But just for like half a day, just have faith that it's all going to fall into place. And then you get to see that if it does, wow, the universe does find parking for me. And if it doesn't, you go, wow, I survived not finding parking. That
Mm,
was fine too, right? So it's really an interesting thing, this game of like experiment with the thing, experiment with the energy. Um, and God, faith just solves so many problems for you.
mm,
So much energy back.
right.
Yeah.
Just breathing and like melting into
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Knowing that we're
It's not
floating.
my job.
Amazing. Hey, y'all, I'm going to take another question and I want to get into the channeled experience that we're going to have here
Yes.
in a second. Well, but before we do that again, I want to remind you of the opportunity to go deeper with Jessie in the special offer. It's $97, the ebook with the wisdom, the library, and the membership that's there for you with special discounts as well. And then, excuse me, the live event that's happening May 8th for BTO audience, again, for this special offer where you get to ask Varian your questions. Amazing opportunity. I hope, again, you all take advantage of it. The link is in the chat box. The purchase links are underneath the videos where you're watching, or again, you can always find the link on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And with that, Sonia, I want to go to your question. Welcome to the call.
Hi, John. Hi, Jessie.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay. Only because I'm on Bluetooth and hearing aids. I struggle with choices, particularly in my work, with my project, and I just and I feel it's just because I've sort of taken a road one way and then thought, oh no, retreated and then taken another road, and possibly because what's coming through was like not wanting to be typecast as being a certain type of person or doing a certain type of thing, and so yeah, and that's whereas I sort of have sort of quite grand visions or ambitious. People have told me that, and I know that sort of come to recognize that for myself. But yeah, I just need some guidance into that, and whatever you can tune into. Is that correct? This is another aspect of that is I think fearing being visible, or I think that may come into it
Let's
as
see what
well.
comes in. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so Vagre's always saying that choices don't get made by us. They get made through
Right.
us. So
Mhm.
learning to it is a process because that's not what we're taught at all. We're taught weigh the pros and cons and make the lists and tick the boxes and do the things. So this is an unlearning type of process, and it does require you to look for clarity in yourself as opposed to what's correct, like the correct choice, right? Because there's no correct choice. We're not really like every road leads somewhere. It's all beautiful. So they often share that your choices are really made through you. And when you're not sure what to do, wait.
Mm.
Now, that might not be easy in work because you use work as a reference, but then it means wait until there's no more waiting time because then it means that you're not going to have that situation where you're going down one route and then you have to backtrack. You basically are doing that because you have too much time on your hands to be able to do that. If you literally had to make the decision now and implement it immediately, then you would be committed to that direction.
Mhm.
So that sounds like, well, it's procrastination then. And I haven't weighed all the options and I haven't tested things out. You could also be someone who does enjoy the testing of the trying the two different things, right? That might actually be your decision-making process. So if that is something you can begin to enjoy, you can also play with that more often. If waiting is too uncomfortable, then go ahead and allow yourself to change your mind 100 times, right? It's okay. We're just told it's not okay. So there's very different people have different decision-making systems. I'd say it like that. But the decision ultimately is not really made by our conscious mind. It's made sort of through your essence. So go with
Mm.
that answer always.
Yeah, can I thank you very much, Jess. Can I just say, when you say through me, one thing that I sometimes can help me with making a choice is pick a number at random from a box
Mhm.
of 600 plus, and these all correlate to a rhythmic rhyming message that that I've created. I call them universes, so it's a message from the universe. So would that be the way to go with me? Kind of trust my own universes in a way.
Right. Well, how much fun does that feel like?
It feels fun.
Then there's your answer.
There you go.
Yeah. Fun is often the answer, guys.
Nice.
Okay, thank
Tanya,
you.
blessings to you.
Thank
And
you.
all your beautiful choices that you get to choose, not choose.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, both of you. Both of you.
Oh my
Love
God.
the conversation. Beautiful
Yeah, it's been
conversation. Thank you.
great. Oh my goodness, Jessie, this is
Yes.
awesome. What's the process to bring Varian in?
So they are always around because they're universal isness. So I just relax, go into trance. I still don't know, sorry guys, exactly how that works, but then they'll start talking. So if we want to invite them in, we can do that.
Would love to invite them.
Yeah.
Wait, someone asked before we go in, if you know where they're from, it's like there's
Okay. So they are non-physical, non-locational. They are not from anywhere. They're from everywhere. And
Love
so it's not like from a star system or from a density or anything like that. They're literally universal consciousness. They're the same thing. They often joke. They say, we're the same thing that creates the bag of dog poop in the park in the garbage can. Like it's all the same thing. It just happens to be called through this particular filter in this way because of the request of the collective for this information.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Great. So if you guys are ready, I'll head into trance. It takes just a little while and then they'll start talking. And John, you and them can have a conversation.
We're ready. Absolutely. Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. I'll see you guys at the end. I don't remember, unfortunately, what they're going to chat with you about, but someone will let me know. Okay.
We'll see you on the other side. Yeah.
All right. Good now to you. We are pleased to be meeting with you in this fashion, are eager to discuss with you anything you so choose to know more of yourself. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being here. First, I have to compliment you on the choice of Jessie as your messenger. She's amazing. And wanted to bring that consciousness. We're finishing our conversation with Jessie today and talking about the role of humanity and what we're shifting into. And we would love a transmission of hope and of encouragement and perhaps even action steps as we're moving forward through these moments of great transcendence. And I feel that there's a lot of releasing limiting beliefs and timelines that we've held those beliefs in, that we're getting to know ourselves and you, and that there's a vulnerability in a lot of our consciousness and how we're choosing new experiences, waiting for those experiences to show up because we've been so used to creating in certain ways. And would love your awareness and any direction that you would give us to help us in assisting to walk that path with more grace and courage and faith as we've been talking about today.
Yes, certainly. So you are indeed on the edge of the new changes, the new experiences that you have been calling in. These experiences will invite you to choose over and over between love and fear, to choose over and over between action that is in alignment and action that perhaps is not. And guess what? You are ready for it. Those who are hearing this particular message have had experiences, have had hardships, have already had experiences in which they have chosen both things that have led them to more of their light and joy, and also, and these are valuable as well, choices that have not led them to more of their light and joy. So you are a seasoned bunch. You are, therefore, the perfect candidates to be able to watch as your collective comes to each of these choice points and hold that light for them. You can think of yourselves as those characters that are at a crossroads and are holding a lantern. And when the pilgrims come to that crossroads, they say, well, you can go either way, but this is the fastest route to where you had said you wanted to be going. And you are pointing people in the direction of themselves. You are pointing people, not necessarily even by your teaching or by anything that you have decided to undertake as in your sharing, but simply by your example of choosing to do so. You are a group that comes together because you have this shared desire of this light bringing to others. And also, guess what? You bring that light to one another. So simultaneously, you are not alone in this role. You are all connected as your family who is here on this planet, in this time, in this collective, in order to hold down the light when it will be challenged. So there is much hope, but we do not necessarily even think you need it because there's much experience, there is much absolute ability. You are also, you did speak of vulnerability, and you did speak of past, and you did speak of experiences. But what you had not spoken of is how resilient this crowd is. You have survived things countless times that are horrific, that others would not have survived. This is part what created you to be the strength that you are, and also what you came into this world to experience so as to be able to hold your beauty. Other people did not, for example. They chose differently. So guess what? It is a wonderful news. You are about to have a great time because you're going to find out that by being exactly as you are in great service to humanity. The more and more you decide to choose love, the more and more you decide to choose your heart, the more and more you decide to choose your desires, your passions, your dreams, your goals, the more and more effective you will be to raising the vibration of the planet. This is good news because it means you no longer have to choose based upon what anyone else thinks or feels or does. You no longer have to choose based upon anyone else's ambitions for you and what they chose to do for your life. In fact, it is your role to choose to be yourself as fully as possible so as to be as much in service to others as you can possibly be.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Is there a need, a necessity as we're walking forward in that light and in that high vibration or frequency to have astute discernment of the opposite, of the lower dimensional? Is there, I don't want to call it a protection, but a discernment of choice and nurturing that choice so that it doesn't get influenced or infiltrated by something that would want to diminish it?
Yes, but guess what? You already have these systems of discernment. You have your emotional guidance system. You have your physical vessel. You have your brain. Your brain is the least effective of these, by the way. But you are already completely attuned to be able to discern the frequencies that are not in service to others or that are not good for you. There's no need necessarily to create some sort of protective ritual unless that is delightful for you, because that in and of itself is an indication to you that you have some sort of fear that you are able to be corrupted in some way. So the more active practice in that case would be to look at the fear that you are holding about that. Why is it you are concerned that you could possibly be corrupted? The end of the day, yes, there is much power in fear, but if you choose simply not to adhere to it, then it cannot touch you. And that is in your free will to do.
Beautiful. Final question I want to ask you has to do with our physical bodies and the attunement into the choices that seem to be leading into energies that we're holding. You know, we speak of amplifying light within our bodies or holding more light quotients, if you will. But it seems like the body goes through periods of adjustments and attunement and of tiredness. Is this accurate? And if so, what is it that we can do to support our physical vessel through these attunements that are occurring?
So what is actually occurring is that as you up level and have, say, what you are talking about, more light, more energy enter into your body in terms of the non-physical realms, your body, which is extremely intelligent, what does it do? It provides you with an opportunity to rest. And if you are not on your own able to discern that this advancement in the light body means that perhaps it is not time to go to work on Monday, then your body will handle that for you by having you a slight cough or some sort of congestion in your head or perhaps a headache. Because the loving thing for you to do is to allow that light to integrate into every cell of your body. And so what you are seeing as these integration periods of being tired or being wiped out after you are having an up level are indeed what is correct for you, because they are helping you to have the most benefit of that up level. If you were to ignore what has occurred to you on a spiritual level, then your body could continue at that pace, then it would not integrate entirely and your life would not be holistic.
Beautiful. A follow-up question I want to ask that also, is there also times that we can be more nourishing of ourselves when there's a lot of collective rebalancing taking place that we feel it physically as well? And how can we nurture and love our bodies in a way that isn't as greatly impacted as it might be because we feel or we attune to what's happening?
Yes, well, the easiest way to do that is to stop abusing your bodies. If you look at a house cat, you might note that it does not much more than eat and sleep during the day. Your human bodies were not meant to do what it is you are doing with them. They were very much meant to have their own natural rhythm, each individual with a rhythm of its own. They were also not meant to eat in the ways that you do. We are not saying that you should change your diet immediately, because much pleasure is derived by the way that you are eating, and pleasure is a good thing. But what we are saying is that there is in each and every one of you some belief that perhaps your diet is not serving you as well as it could. And once you have that belief in your system, well, guess what? It is cemented in your system, and therefore you are being requested by your body to adhere to the belief that you have given yourself about your diet. Now, animals rest far more than you do. Animals eat far correctly more often than you do. So we would say that if you would like to have a very functioning body, it does not mean pushing it harder, going more to the gym, eating only organic or whatever it is. It just means being nice to yourselves.
And how do we nurture the body when we're feeling so much of the collective energy sometimes? It feels like psychically there's a collective pressure.
Yes, it's
That
again,
is
it is about being kind to yourself.
okay.
And that is where you start with this entirely. Because the more kind you are to yourself, the more you are with yourself, the less impact you will have from what is not you. It does mean at times, yes, taking space. And we know some of you have organized your lives in which you do not have the ability to even have 1 hour in the day on your own. But you must carve that out for yourself and be placing yourself and your body. If you cannot love yourself, for example, at least love your body. But we know that that is also a tricky situation for you humans. Regardless, find a way to put yourself first.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for coming in. I don't think I have any more questions today as we're wrapping up today's show. It's an honor to meet you, and thank you for being on the show and then on this transmission with us.
We are honored as well, and we are sending so much love and light to all that are on this call. And with that, we leave you the light of the 1,000 suns. Ananai.
Thank you.
Hello.
I love how direct they are. It's just
Yeah, they're so direct.
direct, no nonsense. Here we go. And what else? Amazing, profound.
Great.
Wow, how are y'all feeling after that? Amazing experience, right? And again, just direct. When y'all who are going to participate in the special offer, come with some questions prepared. Like, really, you saw how direct and
Yeah, they're
how
quick.
no nonsense, but you can feel just here it is. It's love. It's like here. It's just so just so simple. It's just right there. The link for the website or for the special offer is in the chat box again. In the special offer box is on the replay page and on the live page, and in our marketplace on beyondtheordinaryshow.com as well. Jessie, this has been so much fun. It's been so wonderful hosting you here, and I love how open and excited everybody is. The people that we've been feeling interacting with you. Yeah, we'd love to have you back again. Thank you for your time, and thank you for putting together this amazing special offer.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited that this is a new audience and people who haven't met me before, because I love meeting new people and I love meeting you guys, and I would love to have you in the future on any of my offerings, and especially this special offer that I've put together just for you guys.
Beautiful. Again, Jessie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody on the call listening to the replays, thank you all for being the light bringers, for even questioning what else is possible in self-love. And it's so beautiful to witness and to feel and to see the mirrors also in this community. So I bow to each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all on the next call. Good evening, everybody.